hourly rundown. Leading the news today, well, it's the very sad news of the death of the sporting icon Kobe Bryant at the age of 41. A giant on and off the court. His fame went far beyond US basketball fans. He was a global superstar, said by many to be one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. He was one of 9 people on board a private helicopter who died when it came down in bad weather in California. His 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, herself a budding basketball player, was also killed. Our sports correspondent, Martha Kellner, has
time NBA final.
Well, the tributes to Kobe Bryant have been many and heartfelt. The first we'll show you from President Donald Trump said this. Kobe Bryant, despite being one of the truly great basketball players of all time, was just getting started in life. He loved his family so much and had such strong passion for the future. The loss of his beautiful daughter, Gianna, makes this moment even more devastating. A sentiment echoed a little earlier in the afternoon, in fact, by the former President Barack Obama. Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started in what would have been just as meaningful a second act. To lose Gianna is even more heartbreaking to us as parents. Michelle and I send love and prayers to Vanessa and the entire Bryant family on an unthinkable day. Short and sweet, this one from Usain Bolt. I still can't believe it, he tweeted. The Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton said this. I'm sad to hear that we lost one of our greats. Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest athletes and was such an inspiration to so many, including myself. I'm deeply saddened for his family and for the people around the world who looked up to him. May he and his daughter rest in peace. And the Hollywood star Leonardo DiCaprio summed up the thoughts of many in Los Angeles when he tweeted this. Kobe was truly larger than life, a legend. May he and all those who lost their lives today rest in peace. Love and condolences to his family. LA will never be the same. Vigils mourning Kobe Bryant's death have been popping up all over America. Thousands of fans, in fact, have been gathering at the Staples Center where he played for the LA Lakers, and where we'll also find our correspondent, Greg Marlin. Morning, Greg. Just picking up on what Leonardo DiCaprio said there. I mean, I was just reminding myself of his last game for the Lakers against Utah Jazz. He scored 60 points. They came from behind. Above all else, he was an exceptional basketball player and will be truly missed by thousands, millions, in fact, where you are.
Yeah, one of the best players ever, and I think you saw in that last game that the kind of people who wanted to be there, actors, movie stars, people from sport, people from politics, tells us a lot about the kind of character he was and the fact that he reached a long way beyond sport. And you're right, it was here, the house that Kobe built, as they described it at the Grammys tonight, where a lot of people have come throughout the day to remember him, to chant his name, to chant MVP in his honor. There are some candles down there. We've had choirs singing, and all around this square here outside the Staples, his face looks down, even on the big hotel over the other side of the square there, in loving memory of Kobe Bryant. A city really that was defined by him and which is really struggling today. And one person we can speak to, Chris James, who met him many years ago, and you heard the news later than most. What was your reaction when you heard about the news today?
Man, I don't think I've had a chance to process it yet. I literally just heard an hour ago, and I got in my car and I felt compelled to come down here and share my story about Kobe Bryant. I think the grief will probably come over the next few days. But right now, it's really more just shock and just more I want to share the story.
Yeah, he came to visit you in hospital when you were a kid. We can see what it means to the people of LA. How do you sum up what he means, what he meant to the people of LA?
I mean, everybody knows he was an ambassador. He was sort of the king of the town. Everything he said and did for the community, which was so much a lot of people don't know about, is the reason why he's so beloved. I mean, everybody is here, and these aren't, the Grammy crowd necessarily. These are the people of LA. They really truly loved him, and we need a person like that in LA to bring the community together. So yeah,
Chris, thanks very much for that. I think from what I've seen here as well, he's exactly right that he did bring this community together. A very diverse community, of course, and the reaction around the world says that he did a lot more than just represent this city.
Greg, we should dwell just for a second, though. Whilst we remember the career of the man, there were incidents in his private life that did more, frankly, than raise eyebrows. There was the incident back in 2003, allegations of rape that were laid at the door of Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, that early on in his career, that allegation came at a hotel in Colorado. Now, the criminal charges were dropped. There was a civil case that was settled out of court. As a result of that, Kobe Bryant made a statement apologizing to the woman who made those accusations, but not admitting guilt. And certainly that stain was there. I think for a lot of people here, a lot of people who followed his career, it was about what he did afterwards to try to put that right in his mind and the mind of those who are supporting of him. And certainly the fact that he raised his own family, the fact that he, to many people's minds, did a lot for this community and offering hope to young people who perhaps didn't have other opportunities, I think was seen by many as trying to put right some of those question marks that remained over him after that incident. And certainly when he won that Oscar in 2018 for his film Dear Basketball, there were questions again that surfaced around those accusations. But I think people see the rest of Kobe Bryant's life story as putting right many of those wrongs that some people saw.
Indeed. Greg, many thanks. And no prizes for guessing the biggest story of the day. Let's start with the Mirror. It pays tribute to the sporting hero, legend as they describe him, Kobe Bryant, reporting how he was killed after his private helicopter crashed in thick fog and burst into flames. Reverend Jesse Jackson there saying that he burst into tears at the knowledge. Inside, the headline reading R.I.P. Legend. It also pays tribute to the star's daughter, Gianna. She was killed alongside him in the accident, dressed there in the blue dress on Kobe's right. The LA Times has also devoted its website to him. Understandable, given how totemic he was for the Lakers. Their columnist writing there that he is screaming, cursing into the sky and crying into his keyboard as he reports on the tragedy. His last game, Kobe Bryant scored 60 points so that the Lakers could defeat Utah Jazz, coming from behind all the way through that match. In fact, I'd recommend you check it out on YouTube. Let's turn to the Eye. Its story of the day, well, it's claiming that Britons are stranded in...
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock. You're watching Kay Burley at breakfast. As the sporting world mourns one of its leading lights, basketball player Kobe Bryant, who's died in a helicopter crash at the age of just 41. We'll cross live to Los Angeles shortly, where devastated fans are gathering late into the night to pay their respects. Also this morning, he's the bookies' favourite for the Lakers. Our US correspondent Greg Milam is outside the Staples Center, the home of the Los Angeles Lakers. Joins us now, as you can see. Complete shock, I'm guessing, where you are, Greg.
Yeah, this is a man who came to define this city, a city that has plenty of celebrities, of course, plenty of power brokers, but none exceeded the power that he had here, his 20-year career spent here, and moving into what Barack Obama described as that second act of writing, of making documentaries and movies, trying to share some of his success with young people in this city and beyond. So this is one of those places that people have come today, and you can see his face on the big screens surrounding the Staples Center, the Grammy Awards, as you saw there, going on in as Alicia Keys said, in the house that Kobe Bryant built just over behind us here. So a huge sense of shock, a huge sense of disbelief, and of course at the same time an investigation going on into the causes of that helicopter crash. There was thick fog at the time he was making that trip actually to a basketball game with his daughter. That will be the focus for investigators who are flying in now to begin that investigation. It's a pretty inaccessible spot. They say it will take them a number of days even to recover the bodies inside that wreckage and then begin to take it away to look for a cause of that crash. And we should also remember the others who were on board with Kobe Bryant and his daughter. Among them, a youth baseball coach, his wife and daughter, who were invited on that trip to the basketball game with the star himself. So huge tragedy for the Bryant family and others, and a sense of shock that extends around this city, but clearly a lot further as well.
You're looking behind you there, Greg. It would appear that his image on many of the big screens outside the Staples Center, his home for 20 years.
Yeah, a place that he could have left, of course, like any sports star, but he chose to stay. He grew up in Philadelphia, actually, but came here straight out of high school to that career that made him a champion of the NBA and of the Olympics, of course, and a sportsman who many say was one of the best in his sport ever. and certainly one of the best of his generation, and a man who was looked up to by so many young people here. And the fact that he went on to Oscar success with a film based on the end of his career at the Oscars in 2018, a significant move for someone who at 41 clearly, as many have said, had so much more to offer.
Indeed. Thank you. Kobe Bryant, who died in a helicopter crash. Evans, founder of the Lakers Fan Club UK. Hello to you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Where were you when you heard the news?
Hi, I was just at home looking on my phone, and it's truly a shock. It's a tragedy. I couldn't really believe it at first. The Lakers are a family-owned basketball team. The fans are part of that family. Players past and present are part of that family, and Kobe Bryant was part of that family. It is truly a tragedy.
How should we remember him?
I don't think there are enough words that we can remember him by. I mean, a few members of our fan club have said a few words to describe him, and then words are teacher, dedication, legend, competitor, work winner, father, hero. Is never ending, and it all came under his attitude, which was his famous marker, and that was the Mamba mentality.
He was with his daughter, 13-year-old daughter, who sadly also perished in this accident. She was a rising star, wasn't she, in the basketball game?
She was, yes. She was ever present at NBA games. I think she was his only daughter that was very much involved in basketball and wanting to follow in her father's footsteps. And they were doing a big part in not just getting her into NBA basketball and following all that, but also getting into the WNBA, which is women's basketball in the United States, and she was very talented.
Indeed, so we don't know what caused the accident as yet. Obviously, the Lakers, the team that presently play, absolutely devastated by the news. We saw some of them leaving an aircraft as they were.
Yeah, that's players past and present, but I also think that from what we've seen since the news, the outpour of grief from those of all ages across the world, whether it's basketball players, whether it's fans, just really shows the impact he had, not just on Laker fans, but basketball fans. Everyone across the world found some inspiration in Kobe, and even if you weren't particularly a fan of the sport, you know who Kobe Bryant was, and he's left behind a huge mark on this world. I may also like to add that he was also an accomplished father. Obviously, he was an accomplished author. He did also win an Oscar as well, so it's not very much his playing career, but also what he did off the court.
Good to talk to you. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Reaction around the world.
Yeah, I think the idea that a sports star transcends sports is something we say all too regularly, but Kobe Bryant really was someone whose influence extended way beyond basketball and beyond countries where basketball is even played regularly. Here, many people knew him and loved him, and I think sports stars took inspiration from him because of this incredible, formidable work ethic that he had. He was said to be the first to show up at practice and the last to leave, and his shooting marathons became the stuff of legend. But I think we can see the influence he had from how diverse people, the tributes, came in overnight as they learned of his death. Both the current US President Donald Trump and the former US President Barack Obama both tweeted their tributes to Kobe Bryant. Barack Obama, who knew him well, said Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started in what would have been just as meaningful a second act. To lose Gianna is even more heartbreaking to us as parents. Michelle and I send love and prayers to Vanessa and the entire Bryant family on an unthinkable day. And Britain's Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton also tweeted, he said, "I'm sad to hear that we lost one of our greats. Kobe Bryant was one of the greatest athletes and was such an inspiration to so many, including myself. I'm deeply saddened for his family and for the people around the world who looked up to him. May he and his daughter rest in peace." And I think it's been particularly moving seeing pictures of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. They would regularly go to basketball matches and sit courtside, and he was a real support of her budding basketball career as well.
Okay, well, thank you. 7 minutes past 8.